Hello and welcome to the podcast of the Prison Officers Association, the UK's largest professional union for prison, correctional and secure psychiatric workers with over 30,000 members. In this episode, we look at the second of the union's women's networking events held earlier this year. We'll hear from a delegate to the event, Amy Crook from HMP Long Lartin, and also from NEC member Jackie Marshall to get varying perspectives on an event that has become a popular feature in the union's calendar, ranging from what participants like Amy get out of bringing women members together in a mixture of formal and informal sessions, to all the work that takes place behind the scenes to make the events successful. I first asked Amy, a custodial manager for around 11 years, how she first became aware of the women's networking event.
I'm on the committee at Long Lartin, so I responded to the email and asked if I could attend because I've been to previous women's events that have been run by HMPPS. So I thought it'd be interesting to go along to the POA one as well and see if there's any differences or similarities and things that we could take back to the prison.
And were there? What are if you compare and contrast the HMPPS one and the POA one, what were the main similarities and what were the differences?
Yeah, so I guess like the similarities, some of the key themes that went through, so pregnancy related issues, certainly menopause. The last time I went to a HMPPS one was around 4 years ago, so quite a while ago, but it's interesting to see that those items are still on the agenda. And even though 4 years ago, HMPPS were pushing these awareness down into establishments, it's interesting to see from feedback from the other women at the event and from my own establishment that's still not filtered through 4 years later. So yeah, it was interesting, really.
Where do you think the barrier is? Because if there's a willingness at national level from HMPPS, and obviously the union is fully supportive as well, where do you think's the blockage?
I think a lot of it's awareness in general. And I guess, a lot of establishments, they're really short of staff. And I think coming through COVID, a lot of priorities were lost. I guess when COVID happened within establishments, the attention from a lot of things got taken away because actually that was the main focus, was keeping people safe for quite a long time. And then I think a lot of establishments have not been so quick to get back to normal business, in effect, and to re-establish what the priorities are for establishment. So I think that's an issue. And then I think just general awareness. So just in terms of recruitment within the service, there's been a lot of turnover of staff. There's been a lot of turnover of managers, I think. A lot of people coming and going and leaving. So I think it's then just getting awareness to first-line managers of the issues that can affect women, either at work or being away from work, and then getting senior leaders in the establishments involved in allowing our managers to offer that support. So, and actually being aware of the issues that can affect women.
In that sense, the POA event itself is very timely and useful to get all the ducks in a row from a union point of view, so that the ask is going to be fairly consistent from establishment to establishment. What did you? First of all, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. What was the event like? How many people were there? Where was it held? How long did it last? What was the format?
So it was a 3-day event, and it was, I'm not sure exactly how many people were there, but I think probably around 40 to 50 people.
So quite big then.
Attended. Just thinking of the breakdown of the tables. So yeah, it's quite a big event. Staff from all over the country at different grades, or like between officers to, I think I was the only CM there, but a different range of women were there. And it was at the Quorn Hotel. So we all stayed over at the hotel together, and we did. So in the daytime, after breakfast, it was work and work groups, feeding back. We had speakers there. And then on the evening, after our evening meal, we all got together again, and we did different activities again all together. And we also raised money for charity as well.
Right.
So some of the activities involved like raising money. We did a raffle and things like that. So yeah, it was really good fun as well on the evening.
Yeah, so quite intense, but a lot of fun too.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and what do you think the main takeaways were from the event?
So I think, we established a WhatsApp group. So a couple of the girls got together and then went round and said, if anybody wants to be part of this WhatsApp group, you add your name basically and be part of it. So we've actually got like a Empowering Women WhatsApp group now to share what's happening at our own establishments with each other. And if anybody needs to just ask a question or anything, we can help each other. So that's good, in terms of networking and sharing experiences. I think personally for me, I've gone back. I'm like quite keen to raise awareness about menopause and menopause support in the establishment. So I'm setting things up like locally at our establishments to try and raise awareness with SMT and first line managers initially. And then I'm hoping to do a drop-in for staff at the next staff training day, just so staff can come in if they want to ask questions or find out what support's available in terms of support for menopause. They can get that easily through me then.
Well, that's fantastic. I mean, that sounds like it's not only the policy issue that you've been inspired by, been grabbed by, as it were, from the event, but also some approaches for how to progress it at your own establishment.
Yeah, definitely. I think, I can't recall in the establishment having anything shared regarding menopause previously, so I'm really keen to do that. And when I was pregnant with my son, I had quite a poor experience really within the prison, so I'm really keen to take on pregnancy issues and maternity issues forward as well. So hopefully I can do a different topic at each staff training day, menopause first, and then move on to other topics that can impact women.
Did anything particularly surprise you about the event? I mean, it sounds like it's had a really positive impact in terms of your appetite and the skills that you've got to pursue these events locally.
A lot of people shared quite negative experiences of being a woman within the prison service and things that they'd come up against. But I think from being able to share those experiences and other people, going through maybe similar experiences and being able to offer advice, I think that even though it was like negative experiences, there was some positive things that come from it because you can share with each other and then take that forward. And I think, quite a lot of people there, they were senior officers, supervising officers as well. So in terms of, although they're not direct line managers of staff, they still work with the officers on a wing, for example, on a daily basis. So they can help signpost or refer to line managers, which I think would be helpful.
Did the event change your view about the union itself?
Because I'm on our local committee, I do have quite a lot of contact with outside of the establishment in terms of like our union officials. But I think it was quite inspiring and quite powerful. We didn't just have like prison service people there to speak to us.
One of the external speakers was Sarah Woolley, General Secretary of the Bakers Union. She left quite an impression on Amy.
Yes, yeah, she was brilliant. So just, having a strong female union role model to come and speak to us, and it was actually really inspiring because you don't really get that experience anywhere else.
So, okay, let me put you on the spot and say, if you had to name one good thing, the best thing about the whole experience, what would it be?
I think it was just, for me, sharing 3 days with a brilliant group of women who I would generally never get to spend that time with. It was long days, it was full on, but we all had such a great time, just having fun on the evening, but also working together as well in the day and doing these little groups where we have to go and doing like breakaway groups and feeding back, and just a really positive group of women. I think, generally we find like the service at the moment can be quite negative. To spend 3 days with women that want to make a change, want to help other people, not for themselves, but for other people, was just brilliant, I think.
Listening to that is Jackie Marshall, the NEC lead member for this area of the union's work. The women's networking event that we've just heard Amy discuss, that's the second of these events. Is the intention to continue to run them on a fairly regular basis to get more and more women signed up to the network?
Yes, we'll do another one this year, all being well, and then hopefully we might get more than one on. I don't know. It's because of the cost of the union, because it's not cheap, but it's well worth it.
Yeah, what did you particularly kind of take pleasure in or find positive in what Amy said? She clearly had a positive experience at the event.
Yeah, and it's good to hear that she learnt a lot and she got a lot of information to take away with her, but she also enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, I think it's important, isn't it, that people actually absorb information more readily if they're doing it when they're in friendly company and over a cup of tea or a pint or whatever it is.
Yeah, and that's why we put the events on at night time. I think one night we had a raffle and played a few games, and then the second night we sort of did team building games.
Of course, the organisation of these events is largely unseen by the delegates who attend them, but it's really quite intensive, isn't it? What sort of timelines are we talking about to get the event from off the drawing board and into practice?
Weeks and weeks.
And hours and hours.
And hours and hours, yeah. Because of the amount of information that we give out, obviously we need to get the folders ready. And I did get some help this year from the staff at Cronin House, which was really helpful. But even just, photocopying all the information that we give out and then making up 20 folders full of all the information and additional information we'd put in last year as well. So all of that's got to be all done and ready.
It's quite a task, but when you get the sort of feedback that, say, Amy and others have provided, it must really make it feel very much worthwhile.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it was the second one. I was a bit apprehensive about it, really, if I'm truthful, because the first one had such a good reception, and I didn't know how the second one was going to go. But obviously, since we've done the second one, and we've had, some really good comments back about that one as well, which is really pleasing.
And were there particular learning points that came out of the first event that you thought, aha, we either will do that again or we won't do that again as we plan for this second one?
The quiz night was certainly a quiz and a raffle night we did. That was certainly good because that really brought them together. And what we do is we don't let them sit with the friends when they go. We put the name tags out for them, and we don't necessarily know everybody who's turning up anyway. So we put the name tags out on the tables, and they just go and find their seat and sit down. So everybody's mixed up.
And the choice of guest speakers is also an important issue. I mean, Sarah Woolley is a magnificent speaker. I've heard her speak many times, but she's not the only speaker, of course, that you could put into that slot.
No, not at all. I mean, we asked Sarah to come, and it was really inspiring, I thought, to me as well as the delegates, because she talked about her movement through the union to where she is now, and being the youngest female national official in her 176 years or something is absolutely fantastic for her.
So if we were going to take learning points from the second one moving into the third, not to give away any secrets, what could delegates who sign up for the third Women's Networking event expect to find?
I hope they'd enjoy it. They will go away with lots and lots of information. Big folder full of stuff that they can, use within their branch that's got a host of information about all sorts of women's stuff, from the menopause to period products to posters to encourage women to speak out, and IVF and, family policies and everything. Just everything, hopefully, in the folder is something that they can use.
Indeed. I mean, what must be particularly pleasing is to see practical changes within POA branches and within the prisons where the branch membership is, directly as a result of stuff that's been learned and discussed and spoken about at events like the Women's Networking event.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it really is good. And it's just so positive when you get the feedback from them. I actually saw Amy earlier this week, and she was just full of it. I do say to the girls, is there any way that I could have made it better? Is there anything else that we should include? And as yet, they've all said no. It was just fantastic.
On the one hand, that's great to hear. On the other hand, that's a lot to live up to. But I'm sure you and colleagues at Cronin will make that possible. Jackie, thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome.
And let's go back to Amy for one final thought.
I just would say, if there's any more events, I know there's some different ones coming up that are related to different characteristics, different protected characteristics. I'd really urge people to get involved. Even if they're not on the committee at their establishment, if, they see that it advertised and an email go out to union members, get involved in it, because it's a really good thing to go to. It's something completely different, and I think people would be amazed at how much they actually take from these events.
My thanks to Jackie and to Amy. You can find more details on the union's work on equalities and opportunities like the Women's Networking event on the union's website at poauk.org.uk, where there is also information on the full range of POA activities, plus how to join the union if you are not already a member. Thank you for listening. I hope you have enjoyed what you've heard and will join us for the next edition of the POA podcast. Thank you and goodbye.